This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
G'day, Shaun McManus here. On February 24, I'm doing my first ever solo swim in this year's Rotto swim. It's a 19.7k open water swim from Cop Beach to Rottnest Island. That's, of course, if you go on a straight line. This is my road to Rottnest.
All right, Shawnee Mac, I'm really interested in this, what we're going to talk about, because we're going to be talking about the mental aspect of performance.
Yep.
And I've got little bits of insight into your brain, and hearing you talk about certain stuff makes me feel normal. And I think a lot of people listening would be like, Shawnee Mac has these, like, some of the self-talk things you mentioned and we'll talk about, doubts and stuff like that. If he's having that, it just makes me feel more confident that you're kind of not alone. So I'm glad we're touching on this, but mental performance in sport, maybe in general, where do you want to start?
Well, I reckon it's, first of all, you've got to acknowledge that even the greats have doubts. And I'm not putting myself in that category. Let me just start by that.
You're up there, bud. I saw that Wirrapunda kick after you got knocked out and still got the goal.
Well, can I take you back to that instance when that happened and I didn't know anything?
So you were going for the mark. You got knocked out by David Wirrapunda. You're 50 metres out or a little bit?
Probably 60,
70, 80 metres out. You got up. You would have been concussed, obviously. This is before they would have taken you off.
Yes.
And you kicked the goal.
Well, the reason why I was able to kick that goal, because I went back to being process-orientated and I'd practiced so much at doing this one thing. We had a psychologist at the Dockers and he's back there now. He spent some time at the West Coast Eagles. I think he's been to 4 to 5 Olympians, Neil McLean. And if it wasn't for Neil, I reckon I would have retired many years ago. And there was periods in my career where I felt so low that I actually found one time in particular that I went into the car after we had a meeting at training and I didn't think I could get out on the training track. I was really upset with the way I was viewed by our coach at that time and I felt really low. But this guy got me back all the time to be able to perform at a reasonable level throughout, 14, 15 years of playing. And I know how important it is. And I think in AFL or elite sport these days, everyone is so fit, right? Everyone's skill level is so high. And I know some guys are, people would say they're more skillful, but they're able to deliver under pressure more than the average Joe. It's probably because they've got a handle on their mental aspect. They believe what they're doing all the time. They believe they can do it. And whether that's from their preparation or that's from working with someone in the mental space, then I'm sure that's the area where you can get an edge on everybody.
So you're saying, all right, let's go to when you had those lows.
Yep.
What were the things that you said that was it the doctor that would say to you to build you up or the guy you're working with? What would build you up from a weak mental state to, well, I wouldn't call it weak. I'd just say, you're struggling and that's very normal, but to a state where it's helped you out.
The negative self-talk comes from looking at a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
When you go away from the process and the day-to-day grind of what you're doing. So, for example, I'm thinking I'm not going to get a game, or what happens if I stuff this up? If it comes to the game day, what happens if I miss this goal? After this week, am I going to be out of the team because I feel like they're gunning for me? Rather than, today's a training session, I need to get better at this. I'm going to focus on just doing this drill. I'm going to focus on the next part, which is the running. When I get to the gym in the third part of the day, I'm going to go absolutely ballistic because I can control that. Everybody looks at the bigger picture all the time and they get caught up in that. But if you just bring it back into a narrower focused...
It's like the present.
The present, staying as present as possible and dealing with that situation, then it's much easier to get through. So swimming, all I had to do was, okay, what's coming next? I've got to do a 200.
Mm-hmm.
Stay with it. Don't focus on the next thing. When you're looking at a board and it's got a whole lot of writing of laps and this and that and everything else, you can really get distracted. How am I going to get through? I can't do this. This is shitloads. But staying present, staying focused, keeping your narrow focus, and knowing that after months and months and weeks, you're capable of doing that, which is kicking a football through the goals, staying with the preparation, staying with a plan, and also in the swimming part of things. Can I swim at 400 metres? Of course I can.
So the training, the repetition, what would your low self-talk versus your strong self-talk be? So if you're having a bad day, what would your brain say? If you're having a good day, you're in a good space, what are you saying to yourself?
Well, I can't do this. When I was swimming the other week and my mind's going, just get out. Just get out.
Yep.
You're not going to make it. Are you actually going anywhere? It doesn't seem like you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
This is too long. They're all the negative
Self-talk.
voices that come into your head. And I guess on the other side of thing is when I was also swimming just the other day in the pool and it was 400 metres, well, I swam 6Ks on the 48 hours before. Yeah.
So it's the experiences you've had.
This is 400.
Yeah.
And this Friday before, which is last Friday, I swam 6 or 7 400s with less rest at a higher intensity, I thought. So I knew what that feeling feels like. Okay, this is what it feels like. I can handle this. Let's keep going.
Yeah, because you've done it. And I guess the voice would be like, you've done it.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a really good thing being able to control the situation when a problem comes up in your mind, and then you can counteract that with some positive talk. I've been here before, or I've done the repetitions. I'm capable of doing this, or this is how I'm going to handle choppy water. I know I can do this because I've done it before.
What about if you can't control a situation? Is there any mental techniques that you have found helpful? So you can't control a situation. Yeah, what are things that would be helpful in a situation where you may be starting to get to negative self-talk?
Well, I think ultimately you've got to believe in your preparation and what you're capable of. So for me, I was talking to someone the other day and they said, you've done 15 pre-seasons of hell. You know, there'll be a point when you're swimming in this 20Ks where you're going to be asked a lot of questions mentally, but you've done this. And it's going back on experiences and knowing that I know that I can turn on a switch.
You've done the hard work.
Yeah, and I haven't done that so far in this preparation, but there's going to be a time where hopefully the switch comes on and then I can just keep propelling.
Yeah, you do the hard work. It gives you the confidence, the belief, and probably the change in self-talk.
Yeah, and self-confidence is not someone being an absolute wanker. Oh, look how confident he is around the place. Self-confidence comes from the discipline of doing the act over and over again. And it gets to the point where you actually feel good about yourself. I can't believe I've achieved this. This is great. When you've gone to the gym and you've had a massive workout and you've got smashed and you come out of there, you feel so good about yourself that you can propel the rest of your day forward on the back of the effort you've put in here and that you've survived a PT session.
Yeah. It's like
I survived the pool.
Starting a positive ball that rolls, and it hopefully keeps building up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I found like on a Saturday morning, generally I'm at the pool for 5:30 kickoff, and then I'm home just after 8 o'clock. I walk in the door, I grab the dog, I walk him, I put the washing on, empty the dishwasher. Everyone's
productive.
Asleep. I'm doing stuff. I'm just flat out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've fallen a fucking huge hole after that, but
you had a great couple of hours.
The effect and the self-worth you get out of it is quite extraordinary.
No, I'm a big fan of exercise for those reasons.
Yeah.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Let's go back to, say, Shaun, like before he'd done all the experience and career, before you got done the hard work. What type of advice would you have to somebody who hasn't done that, but they may not be in a positive state of mind, but the kind of things they would be helpful to them? So think of you just before you got drafted or you're a footy guy. What would you be saying to you to help with your mental strength before you start your journey, before you've done the hard work?
My journey started with a really inbuilt competitiveness, and so I was able to get to a position where every time I was competing, I was just throwing myself at 100 miles an hour. I think that's a bit different for everyone in this space, but I think it all comes back to setting yourself a goal and then committing to it. So if I never signed up to swim to Rottnest, I'd be in a situation where I'd be still doing exercise, but would my self-confidence be at a level it probably is today? No, it wouldn't be. I would always be wondering if I'm capable of more. I'd probably have negative self-talk that would say, no, I'm not capable of swimming to Rottnest. Every time we get on the boat and go on the Rottnest ferry and drive there, no, I couldn't do this. But if you set yourself a goal, it's quite amazing that there's going to be increments of improvement. You're eventually going to get there through discipline, right? There's the goal. It's set. Now, what does it look like? Well, it means that I have to get up and be at the pool or the gym.
Break it down.
At 6 o'clock. And I'm going to do it every day. Now, every day that you go there, you don't want to go there. The hardest thing in the world to do, and I'm sure you feel this way, is to walk through those doors sometimes, isn't it? You cannot be asked.
That alarm going off. Yep. It's dark or it's early. You got to do something that's not going to be fun.
Yep. But you go. The next day you go. The next day you go. The next day you go. And all of a sudden it becomes who you are and what you do. And you grow with confidence knowing that you're doing that day after day after day. And the hardest thing in that period is you don't see the improvement.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
So
today.
small for you.
Yeah, you can't. You look in the mirror and go, I've been doing bicep curls for 4 weeks now. I can't see a thing. But from the outside, people are starting to notice, and then eventually it starts kicking in. The short term, it's a long term plan. That sometimes you don't see the fruits of it at the beginning, but eventually it kicks into gear and you get there.
So have that big goal and then break it down, little increments.
Yeah.
Little increments.
Yeah, there's a guy that I was listening to a fair while ago, and he was talking about you need to find your why. And if you can find your why, then the how's easy.
Yeah,
You've
absolutely.
heard that before, haven't you, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I reckon it applies in my life. But you have something, if you can connect your why to what you want to do, yeah, you're going to be successful. Because it doesn't matter if you fail. If it's something that means that much to you, you fail and that's okay. You get up again.
Yeah, my journey's not about winning this race at all. It's about making there, and it's been about testing myself. It's about seeing if I've got the character and the willpower to be able to get back to the discipline that it takes to be able to do something like this journey. And it's certainly about building, this is hard to believe, people will hear this from me, but building my self-worth up, because I haven't challenged myself for a long period of time. I think you get comfortable, and I don't want to be that person who I have been at junior footy, right? I'm yelling at the kids, you got to do this, you got to go harder. But am I doing that? The answer's no. The answer's no. I haven't felt what it's like to really put myself under pressure and think in my mind, I'm not sure if I'm capable of doing this. That's changed, and I'm glad I'm through this journey. And I have not done the swim at all, and I'm really worried about how this is all going to end up.
Yeah,
but it's a day at a time.
Sean gave up 1K in.
Yeah, imagine that. That goes through your head.
No.
What happens if I get to the 3K mark and I'm just like, done?
No, you've done the hard
17
work.
to go.
But it's like, I have not seen this side of it. It's really, really nice to see like the inside of your brain with this stuff that, you know, we're not all bulletproof.
No, we're certainly not. I just know I'm confident there'll be a time where I can turn into a beast.
Yeah, you probably have access to that more than most of us.
Yeah, but it doesn't make me infallible for sure. And all those feelings that I was talking about, I know that people go through them all the time. Some people don't start, do they? They don't go to the gym because they're worried they won't be able to do something. But it's baby steps, and hopefully that momentum that you create from going day in, day out, that discipline that you show, will be able to stand for something, and it will, and you'll start getting momentum, and away you go.
Well said. Perhaps we finish on our favourite David Goggins quote.
When you're or you think you're only 40%
I think that's Sean's paraphrase version.
I tell you
of
what,
it.
every time we have a chat over the next couple of days, I'll come with another little phrase that we can work on and dissect. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
Shawnee.
tomorrow.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.